friends and welcome to Pendulum Edu. Today we'll be discussing daily current affairs of 5 June 2020. So let's start the session. First news is Union Cabinet approved the historic amendment in the Essential Commodities Act of 1955. So recently the Essential Commodities Act in this amendment has been approved by the Union Cabinet, and under this cereals, pulses, oilseeds, edible oils, onions and potatoes, they have been removed from the list of essential commodities. I'll repeat, cereals, pulses, oilseeds, edible oils, onions and potatoes have been removed from the list of essential commodities, and this step will increase the income of farmers further. And also, in addition to this, Cabinet has also approved to form an empowered team of project development cells and secretaries in the ministries and departments to attract investment in the country. This new system will help India build a 5 trillion economies by 2024-25. In addition, the re-establishment of the Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy has also been approved, and this Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, it will be established by merging two central labs. First is Pharmacopoeia Laboratory for Indian Medicine and second is Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Laboratory. So basically there will be the two labs, the two central laboratories, which is Pharmacopoeia Laboratory for Indian Medicine and Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia Laboratory. They will be merged together to form Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy. Now let's see the question related to this. Recently, which items have been removed from the list of essential commodities by amendment in the Essential Commodities Act of 1955? And the options are cereals, pulses, oilseeds and all of the above. So the correct answer is option D, that is cereals, pulses, oilseeds. They all have been removed from the list of essential commodities by amendment in the Essential Commodities Act of 1955. Let's move to the next news. Permission to the Agriculture Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020 has been approved by the Union Cabinet, and this ordinance, it aims to provide additional business opportunities to the farmers which are outside the Agriculture Produce Market Committee so that they can get profitable prices due to the additional competition. This ordinance will serve as a complement to the current minimum support price procurement system. Also, this ordinance will pave the way for One India, One Agriculture market. Under this, no cess or fee will be charged from the farmers for selling their produce. This is an important point, that there will be no charging of a particular fees or cess on farmers for selling their produce. And also, dispute resolution will be arranged for the farmers. So let's see a question related to this news. What benefits will the farmer get from the Agriculture Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Ordinance 2020? And first is, they will be able to get a profitable price due to extra competition. Second, ease in dispute resolution. Third, it will clear the path of one nation, that is One India, One Agriculture market, and all of the above. So the correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Let's move to the next news. India-Australia Virtual Summit concluded. So Prime Minister of India Narendra Modi and Prime Minister of Australia Scott Morrison, they held an India-Australia Virtual Summit. And the Prime Minister of Australia's visit to India was cancelled, of course, due to the coronavirus pandemic, and hence the two countries decided to organize a virtual summit. And this is the first time the Prime Minister is holding a bilateral virtual summit, and both countries have a similar vision of a free, uninterrupted, inclusive and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. And now let's know something about Australia. Australia is the largest country in Oceania and the 6th largest in the world by total area. You can see the location of Australia in the map, and its capital is Canberra and the currency is Australian dollar. Now let's see the question related to this news. Recently, India and Australia Virtual Summit took place. What is the rank of Australia in the world in terms of area? Second, third, fourth and sixth. So the correct answer is option D, that is Australia ranks 6th in the world in terms of area. Central government started the Swadesh initiative. So recently an initiative called Swadesh has been launched by the central government. Swadesh means skilled works arrival database for employment support. and this initiative is for citizens returning to India under the Vande Bharat mission. You all know Vande Bharat mission. This is the mission of Government of India to bring all the stranded Indian citizens which have been there in different countries due to lockdown and coronavirus pandemic. And under this Vande Bharat mission, many citizens have been brought back, and now this initiative, Swadesh initiative, is also for those citizens which are returning to India under this mission. And this Swadesh initiative, it is a joint initiative of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Ministry of Civil Aviation and Ministry of External Affairs. This is an important point because a question can be asked that this Swadesh initiative, it is a joint initiative of which of the following ministries, and there may be options like Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Ministry of External Affairs, and then you have to choose the correct answer. So this is important. An initiative, the government schemes and initiatives, you should know that under which ministry a particular scheme or initiative is being implemented or being launched, or which is the nodal agency for the implementation of a particular scheme or initiative. This initiative aims to create a database of qualified citizens based on their skills and experience to meet the demand of India and foreign companies. The collected information will be shared with the companies for suitable placement opportunities in the country. Interested citizens who are returning to the country, they are required to fill in an online Swadesh skill card for this opportunity. Now let's see the question related to it. Recently, Swadesh initiative has been started by the central government. It is related to which of the following? So, citizens returning to India under Vande Bharat mission, migrant workers of the country, students and merchants. So, the correct answer is option A, that is this Swadesh initiative. It is related to the citizens returning to India under Vande Bharat mission. Now let's see the next news. New definition of MSME will come into force from 1st July 2020. So the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises has stated that the new definition of MSME, it will come into force from 1st July 2020. In May 2020, the definition of MSME in the Self-Sustainable India package, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, the definition of MSME was amended after 14 years, and this new definition will come into force from 1st July 2020, and we have made separate videos on Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan package. There are 5 videos and you can go and watch it. All the packages have been comprehensively covered in that, and this definition of MSME has been changed under the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Act of 2006. And in the new definition, exports will not count in turnover for any enterprise, whether it is micro, small or medium. So now let's see the definition, the new definition of MSME that will come into force from 1st July 2020. So for micro enterprises, the investment up to maximum 1 crore and annual turnover of up to maximum 5 crore. If any enterprise is getting an investment of maximum of 1 crore and annual turnover of up to maximum of 5 crore, then it will be categorized as a micro enterprise. And if the investment is maximum of 10 crores and annual turnover of up to a maximum of 50 crores, then it will be termed as a small enterprises. And if the investment is up to 20 crores and annual turnover is up to 100 crores, then it will be considered as a medium enterprise. So this definition is very important because this has been in news lately, and there are many chances that such type of question can be asked in exams, especially in the banking exam, because it is related to Indian economy. Now let's see the question related to it. According to the new definition of MSME, what is the annual maximum turnover limit for a micro enterprise? Maximum 10 crores, maximum 5 crores, maximum 2 crores and maximum 7 crores. So the correct answer is option B, that is maximum of 5 crores. Moving to the next news, start of All India Real-Time Market and Power sector. Recently, the Union Minister of Energy and New and Renewable Energy, Rajkumar Singh, has started an All India Real-Time Market in the power sector. And this real-time market, it will be open for half an hour every day. And this proposed real-time market, it will provide an alternative mechanism for power distribution companies to access large markets at a competitive price. So under this real-time market, the companies which have excess supply of electricity, they can sell their excess supply, and the companies or the industries which lacks in the supply, they can buy over this platform. And this is a very important step because this trading can be done on a real-time basis. And this proposed real time, it will provide an alternative mechanism for power distribution companies as they can access large markets at a competitive price. Also, real time market, it enables consumers, basically distribution companies and captive users, to purchase power on these exchanges exactly 1 hour before delivery. And this will provide an organized market platform which will enable buyers and sellers to meet their energy needs in real-time India operations. The question: recently in which sector has the pan-India real-time market started? So chemical and fertilizer sector, mining sector, power sector, gems and jewelry sector. So the correct answer is option C, that is in power sector real-time market has been started. Now let's see the next news. Ravish Kumar appointed as the next Indian ambassador to Finland. Recently, senior diplomat Ravish Kumar, he has been appointed as the next ambassador of India to Finland. He is a 1995 batch Indian Foreign Service officer. He has served as the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs from July 2017 to April 2020. During this, he sensibly assessed India's position on several sensitive issues, including the 2019 Balakot strike, the National Citizen Register dispute, the reorganization of Jammu and Kashmir. And he's a very famous senior diplomat, Ravish Kumar, and now he has been appointed as the next ambassador of India to Finland. Who will be appointed as the next ambassador of India to Finland? Ravish Kumar, Dilip Kumar, Rajendra Kumar and Kalpesh Kumar. So the correct answer is option A, that is Ravish Kumar. Moving to the next news. Delhi government launched a mobile app called Delhi Corona. Recently, Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal has launched a mobile app called Delhi Corona. Using this app, residents can track the number of beds and ventilators available in hospitals dedicated to the treatment of corona in the national capital, Delhi. The service can also be accessed using a web browser. The user is not required to provide any details before using the application. Moving to the next news, Kolkata Port will be renamed as Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port. Recently, Union Cabinet has approved renaming Kolkata Port to be Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port, and the Board of Trustees of Kolkata Port Trust passed a resolution on February 25 to rename the project. The decision was announced at the inauguration ceremony of the port's 150th anniversary celebrations on 12 January by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the founder of Bharatiya Janata Sangh, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, is known as a versatile jurist, educationist, thinker and leader. He served in the cabinet of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru as Minister of Industry and Supply. There are a total of 13 major ports in India. A question can be asked, how many major ports, seaports are there in India? So 13 are there, and 12 of them are government owned, and one, that is Ennore Port of Chennai, it is now corporate. The other 12 major ports of India are Kolkata Port, Paradip Port, New Mangalore Port, Cochin Port, Jawaharlal Nehru Port, JNPT, Mumbai Port, Kandla Port, Visakhapatnam Port, Chennai Port, Tuticorin Port, Mormugao Port and Port Blair Port. So these are all 12 major ports of India, and 13th is the Ennore Port of Chennai. Now let's see the question related to it. The government has decided to rename which port as Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Port? Kolkata Port, Paradip Port, New Mangalore Port, Tuticorin Port. So the correct answer is option A, Kolkata Port. Next is June 4th, International Day of Innocent Child Victims of Aggression. So every year on 4th June, International Day of Innocent Child Victims of Aggression is observed. The United Nations established this day on 19 August 1982. The main purpose of celebrating this day is to spread awareness about the pain and suffering faced by victim children. This day is dedicated to recognizing the physical, mental and emotional abuse of children all over the world and bringing a smile to their face. Now let's see the question related to it. International Day of Innocent Child Victims of Aggression is celebrated on which day every year? 8 June, 1st June, 5th June and 4th June. So the correct answer is option D, that is 4th June. And on 5th June every year we celebrate World Environment Day. And the theme for 2020 World Environment Day is biodiversity, celebrating biodiversity. Now let's see the next news. Flood hazard in Mexico due to tropical storm Cristobal. Recently, tropical storm Cristobal was formed in the southern Gulf of Mexico, threatening flood in southern Mexico and parts of Central America. The storm is composed of the remains of Eastern Pacific tropical storm Amanda, which wreaked havoc in El Salvador and Guatemala recently. And in Arabian Sea, the cyclone Nisarg, it has hit the coast of Gujarat and Maharashtra. Many regions have been affected. After the cyclone has made its landfall, so there the risk has been reduced, but there are moving winds and rainfall is still there. So, and before this, one cyclone, that is super cyclone Amphan, emerged in Bay of Bengal that affected the regions of West Bengal, Bangladesh, Odisha, and created havoc in these regions. These are all tropical cyclones. So let us know something about tropical cyclones. So a cyclone is a low pressure system with very high winds around it. The conditions required for tropical cyclones are, first of all, sufficiently warm sea surface, that is temperature of around 27 to 28 degrees centigrade, atmospheric instability, high humidity is required in the low to medium levels of the troposphere, and sufficient Coriolis force is required to maintain a low pressure center. And these type of storms, when they occur in different regions, they are known by different names. It is known as hurricane in the North Atlantic and East Pacific, typhoon in the Southeast Asia and China, tropical cyclone in the Southwest Pacific and Indian Ocean region. Now let's see the question related to this. Recently, which country did the tropical storm Cristobal influence? Mexico, Brazil, China and Japan. So the correct answer is option A, that is Mexico. Moving to the next news. World Bank released the Global Economic Prospects June 2020 report. Recently, the report has been released by World Bank, and this report describes the impact of global pandemic COVID-19 on the economy. And according to this report, COVID-19 could lead to 60 million people in extreme poverty in 2020. So we can understand that what impact this COVID-19 pandemic has on the global economy. This epidemic or pandemic has also reduced potential growth and labor productivity. As we all know that this pandemic along with the subsequent lockdown has greatly affected the employment and also the potential growth. GDP has decreased worldwide, also in India, and labor productivity has also declined. And emerging markets and developing economies are the weakest at the moment, and they may face health crisis, restrictions and external rebuffs such as trade, tourism and commodity prices, as well as outflows of capital. And we can also face food inflation in many places. Countries with emerging markets and developing economies are expected to have 3 to 8% output losses in the short term. So if we talk about short term, so there are many losses in terms of short term, but in the coming time maybe there is a possibility that the losses are reduced in long term. At the same time, the question of disposal of huge loans in front of G20 countries and commercial creditors can be further deepened. And we can also see that due to this global pandemic, all the economy has a declining curve and the GDP is declining. So based on this, the investment is also getting affected in the countries. For example, we can see that the Moody's have recently downgraded the Indian sovereign rating, and the investment grade rating have also been reduced from BA2 to BA3 minus. So we can see that such type of things that usually affect the investment in a particular country. And the drop in oil demand also due to this economic lockdown, the drop in oil demand and increase in oil inventories, so they have led to 1 month drop in oil prices on record. The countries whose economy is dependent mainly on oil supply, like we can say Iran, we can say Venezuela. So these countries' economy have been also affected because the oil prices have been declining from the past 1 month due to this worldwide economic lockdown. The report also suggests making better policy options such as greater debt transparency and greater expansion of cash security that can improve the situation. So now let's see a question related to it. Which of the following organization releases global economic prospects? World Bank, International Monetary Fund, United Nations Development Program, and World Economic Forum. So the correct answer is option A, that is World Bank. So friends, here we have covered the daily current affairs of 5 June 2020, and I hope you like this session and you are consistently following this daily current affairs series, so that you can prepare better for your general awareness section. Please like this video, share it as much as you can. You can also mention your views in the comment box below, and subscribe to our channel Pendulum Edu, and do not forget to press the bell icon to receive notifications. Keep preparing well. Thank you so much.